Good afternoon. In my presentation, I'll discuss the recent outbreak of stealer and their ecosystem, and how they're sold to attackers and disseminated to victimize system. First, let me introduce myself. I'm a junior threat intelligence researcher at S2W TALON, and this is my first conference presentation of my life, so I'm just so nervous I can hear my heartbeat from here. TALON is the team responsible for threat intelligence. There are 4 teams within TALON, and I belong to Blacksmith, which conducts APT intelligence and threat actor tracking and detailed malware analysis. Before we dive into the details, here is how we summarize the announcement in 5W1H. Stealers, who are they? As many of you know, stealer is a type of malware that steals all the sensitive information, including credentials, after infiltrating a victimized system. And there are 3 main types of stealer. The first is the malware as a service stealer that are sold by users or groups operating on the dark web forums. And the second is the stealer whose source code are publicly available for anywhere. And the third is the homegrown stealer that are not publicly available for anywhere. So, when did the stealer become so popular with attackers? It is clear that stealer has been a malware used by attacker for a long time. According to Jarvis, which is S2W's deep and dark web search engine, the keyword stealer mentioned on the dark web has been gradually increased, but there was a noticeable spike in 2022. Interest in stealers spiked around this time with the revelation that Lapsus group used RedLine stealer as the initial vector. Then where are all these stealers in the group that run and distributed them being sold and active? They're most active on the dark web forums to advertise their stealers and use their private Telegram channels or bot for communication or customer care. The primary purpose of stealer operator and distributing groups is information theft, so it steals a variety of information that exists on the infected devices. Over time, the percentage of the items stolen being changes slightly, and there may be newly added or deleted items. Why do they favor the stealers? Do they use spectacular tactics or exploit vulnerabilities for attack? No, they don't. Not all they have but huge tactics, but they are often used by attackers because the value of item being stolen is hundreds of times greater than relatively small cost of stealers. Not only that, but well-established manual within their groups and commercialized tools within their ecosystem would have made stealer even more convenient to use. Then how are the stealers related actors are being circulated in their ecosystem? Within the stealer ecosystem, different groups are responsible for creating and distributing stealers and selling the tools, services, or even logs. They're all complementary and they're all intertwined in the process from spreading the stealers to disclosing the exfiltrated data. Now let's take a look at how the stealer ecosystem has evolved to get here. There are more than 100 operators in the dark web and Telegram channels with about over 40 of them being newly discovered in 2022. In addition to old favorites like RedLine, Vidal, Raccoon, and newer stealers like Aurora, Meta, and Titan are making their mark. Here is the list of stealers who are active in 2022. We checked the frequency of stealer-related keywords mentioned on the dark web for names that correspond for stealer malware. RedLine, Vidal, MaaS, Raccoon, Azeroth are the stealers who have had a strong presence and high infection rates for several years. However, there are also newer stealers like Aurora, Titan, Blackguard, Luca, Redomansis, and Eternity. And new stealers are constantly emerging as of this moment. With such many stealers appearing, stealer operators began advertising on various dark web forums, and fierce competition among them ensued on forums like Breachit, XSS, and Exploit, Lols Group, and there's so many other forums. We look at the 5 of the most active forums to see how many stealers were promoted in the last 3 years. As you can see, the number of stealer operators with outreach on the forum has steadily increased since 2020. Notably, 2022 is the highest in the last 3 years, with doubled from 2021. As the number of stealers sold increased, so did the items stay still. In the past, the focus has been on browser credentials, but in recent years, there has been an increase in stealing VPN information, work messengers, and email programs, and browser crypto wallets in the form of browser extensions. Here is how much of a difference each item makes. First, the browser credentials primarily included stolen login information, cookie session data, history, or credit card information. However, as the landscape has evolved, we've witnessed the emergence of 4 new targets for stealers. The prevalence for browser extensions facilitating crypto wallets or two-factor authentication has caught the attention for stealer operators, resulting in an increase in attempts to steal these valuable assets. Conversely, credit card information, which was a previously frequent target, has gradually declined in prominence among stealers' priority over time. As you might expect, the rate of cold wallet hijacks has steadily increased. However, we are also seeing a corresponding increase in hijacking in gaming clients Steam and Telegram sessions, which suggest more sensitive data is likely to be stolen. Unexpectedly, there was no noticeable increase in the rate of VPN information theft. However, the types of software of VPN have increased. Items stolen by stealers are often sold in the form of logs. They just collect the data and save them in the form of text file by categories, so they called it log. This stealer produces logs, which are then sold or acquired by other attackers and use it for another attack. In addition, forum categories or market have emerged that sells only logs. Logs are being sold for as little as $1 and as much as $10 on the Russian market, where logs are commonly sold. In the market, the logs are sold by per country or per item or per stealers. It means for just $10, an attacker could buy a ticket to access a company's internal network. That's why they use the stealer. According to information verified by S2W's leak detection service, more than 12 million pieces of information about 222 countries were leaked by the stealer in 2022. Who, where, and how are so many stealers circulating? Until then, individual attackers who purchases stealers sold by this operator carry out the attacks against the regular users. However, the recent distribution of stealer shows that the amount of them, the speed when it's spread, and the way it is distributed are different than before. That's why we need to understand their ecosystem to know who distributed it and what they use and how they get into the victim system. The stealer ecosystem is becoming more tighter and organized, with groups collaborating according to their roles. People specializing in each area of the offense are starting to team up and sell their services to their customers. They usually make money through fees paid for using their services. There are 4 main groups that make up the Stealer ecosystem: Stealer operating team, traffic team, infrastructure team, and log team. The details of each group are followed. The Stealer operating team develops the Stealer and sells the license or bills to generate the binaries. These products are then acquired by the traffic team, who purchases them either per bill or per license basis. Additionally, the traffic team procures crypt services and various other tools required for effective distribution from the infrastructure team. Once fully prepared, they just manually deploy the Stealer and get the logs from the compromised system. These received logs are then sold to log team or utilized for subsequent attacks by extracting meaningful information like cookie values or browser crypto wallets or seed phrase and anything that can make money. And there are clear walls within each group, creating a well-established system. First, for Stealer operating group, there is an administrator who oversees the planning of the Stealer and services. The coder plays a crucial role in developing the Stealers and bills using the specific programming languages. A moderator acts as a manager to ensure the members are following the rules of the team. Additionally, there is a seller who actively sells their services. And lastly, traffic and infrastructure aspects are organized through affiliate or partnership arrangement, ensuring the smooth operation. In fact, in the private chat of the Stealer operating group, you can see a list of crew members, and all have a similar structure. Here is some cases who have the structured system: Lumasi and Aurora and Eternity. The interesting about these groups is that they also have concepts like working hour 9 to 6 and vacation time for a week, or bonus just like any other organizations. Not only that, but they're splitting up from one team to smaller team selling the same Stealer. Eternity Group is the prime example of this, with the same Stealer being sold by the team named Agret. They are identical in everything, including updating time, the contents of announcement, or the history of updates, and even the Stealer, but name. And that's how they earn the money. Next is the traffic team. Traffic team is a group whose primary purpose is distribute Stealer and get logs. They purchase a license or affiliate with Stealer operators and provides bills to the member of the team called Traffer. Traffers, for the part of the traffic team, earn money based on the number of the valid logs they get by spreading the Stealers, or a percentage of the revenue they earn by the rep in their team by selling their logs. They also receive bonus with the most logs. The structure of the traffic team is no different from Stealers. There is an admin, a coder, a moderator, and seller, and infrastructure team with affiliates. However, as mentioned earlier, the traffic team is a member with a role called Traffer. Based on loss group and XSS and exploit, where a forum has a category of traffic, there have been more than 170 traffic teams since 2021, with about 70 newer traffic teams emerging in 2022. As you can see, a group is using multiple Stealers. Here are the types of Stealer each traffic team stated they were using. Of course, some groups did not disclose what types of Stealer they use, but for about 126 groups identified from 2021 to 2022. RedLine dominates, and followed by Meta, Aurora, Beetle, and others. All you need to know is that these results are based on what was written in initial promoted posts And in some cases, they may use a new stealer after the license expired. If so, we need to confirm that the attacker is actually active in traffic team to distribute stealer. This is why we check the keywords of stealers and traffic teams mentioned on the dark web. As a result, this led to some interesting findings. We could see that the keyword mentioned on the dark web for each were very similar. From the above, it can be inferred that the stealer and traffic teams are closely related, and stealers distribution trends are largely driven by the traffic team's activity. So, how does the traffic team disseminate the stealers? Each traffic team has a manual which is provided to a new member, which includes the information on what kinds of tools or method can be used to distribute stealer. The manual is mainly focused about how to abuse YouTube, but is constantly updating to include Google Ads or Steams or TikTok or something. After checking the manual, we found some tools and services that the traffic team use. The first is the proxy service. Of course, this is also used by many other types of attackers, but the traffic team is provided with a list of proxy based on IP address of the victim system identified from the stealer logs. Each team uses a commercialized service and provided proxy list to Traffer. There are so many tools and services of proxy, so I just list some of them. Also, tools for uploading YouTube video were also used. By extracting cookie values from the stealer logs and feeding them into the tool, then it creates a browser fingerprint similar to victim system, which can be used to upload YouTube video on the hijacked YouTube channel. Previously, a tool named Proxy911 was used, but after it disappeared, a tool named YouTube 365 and other many tools promoted in the dark web was used. Recently, a form of Telegram bots like YT Turbo T, which is manually upload your malicious video on the YouTube, is also used. The third is an SEO service, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. This allows the traffic team to disseminate the stealers to a large number of users. They use services like Check SEO Bot on Telegram to determine how much a specific particular video can attract users, and VDQ, which is a browser extension dedicated to YouTube SEO. They spread stealers by following this process using the tools. First, find a video on YouTube with a topic that will attract the users, using keywords like hack, Valorant, cheat, or Adobe Premiere and cracked it like something. They use service to make their video placed at the top of the YouTube search results and increase their effectivity. Once they find the best video, they just change only thumbnails or title or text for the video and create a semi-format for uploading using the YouTube-related tools. In this process, they set up the browser fingerprint, proxy, and cookie session data to upload videos. This information is primarily based on stealer logs from the section of user information or cookie. Next, they select their preferred stealer or crypt service via bot provided by a traffic team. They then rename the file to match the theme of video, add some few legitimate files, and compress it with password, and upload it to file sharing service like File Media, Mega, and Dropbox. The generated link is then posted on a free web page like telegram.ph, disguised as a legitimate file downloaded link. Although this is a well-known case, we found some malicious link containing Raccoon Stealer that was distributed through this process, and the same link was seen in multiple videos. They've been switching between streaming platforms including YouTube, Steam, and TikTok. However, due to the nature of traffic team, the same stealer is not always circulating. And there is another case. On February 6, 2023, a voice actor YouTuber in Korea received an email impersonating a game company. When he clicked the link and run the file, which contains Lumasi Stealer, his YouTube was compromised and changed to Tesla US channel immediately. Of course, this is one of the methods used by the traffic team primarily to obtain cryptocurrency. Stealers circulating in this way can involve a variety of traffic team. That's because the stealer and traffic team has an N-on-M relationship rather than one-on-one. We can also see that different types of crypt service are used to obfuscate malware to evade the detection, but some of them are overlapped. There is also overlap in the tools used by traffic for SEO and automatic video uploads. As such, they all use similar tools and mechanisms to distribute a stealer. If so, we need a way to detect each of these groups. So we focused a little more on stealers' traffic. We observed various stealers and traffics to trace the Traffer and found a sample that we believe was disseminated by them. The string "I'm Hilly" was present in the build ID field, which can be arbitrarily specified the attacker when creating stealer in builds. And the same string was found in another Meta stealer and Aurora stealer. This was confirmed by the Telegram ID of the Traffer, and the Traffer with same ID belonging to multiple traffic teams. In addition, in the case of Aurora stealer, there is a field called group ID in the traffic left behind when they communicated with CNC server. We checked the traffic of Aurora stealer and found that certain group IDs are being used. The string ALL and the same icon hash was found in common set of samples. We identified them as KZ traffic team by the Telegram ID used in the field. The use of Traffer's Telegram ID is presumably to quickly and efficiently handle many of requests of builds that come in through the traffic team's Telegram bots. Not only that, but one of KG team's traffickers, user Ben Tenda, unloaded logs files obtained by distributing the Aurora stealer to a Telegram channel that specialized in sharing only stealer logs. This is the case that shows the relationship between traffic team and log team. We are able to see how the different groups within the stealer ecosystem work and how they collaborated with each other in real world. Here is a map of stealer ecosystem, which is expected to become more granular and organized in the future. Until now, stealer has been thought as information stealing malware, and not much is known about who is spreading it and how. Beneath the surface, there are numerous groups operating on the dark web that make up the stealer ecosystem, and they're becoming more complex and difficult to track. The rules for detecting the binary self is also important. However, it is important to know major service and the mechanism of create service tools active in the forums and to see how they are leading up to the actual attack. If you monitor them, you can often get the crypt tool in low format. This information alone can be an advantage in writing rules or detect obfuscation binaries. In particular, it would be beneficial to continuously keep tracking users who are engaged in actual distribution in order to proactively identify and respond to distribution trends. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.